I was a PlayStation kid growing up. I never owned a Nintendo 64 until much later down the line. So the early wrestling video game experience for me was like WrestleMania the arcade game, those awful Nitro and Thunder games, WCW Mayhem, and WWF SmackDown. Out of these games, Mayhem was my favorite. I was watching WCW television weekly. So the year is 2000, and a brand new WCW game is on the horizon. My excitement level was off the charts. Hearing that the new WCW game Backstage Assault was going to focus on fighting in the backstage area was intriguing. You could do this in WCW Mayhem and WWF SmackDown, but to an extent. I was hearing about this game on television, from friends, from family, magazines. I couldn't wait. Backstage Assault released November 2000, and what a perfect gift to ask Santa for. I was in first grade. I remember leading up to Christmas break, we had one of the other students' mothers there to help do activities with all of us. Well, it was my turn to sit down with her and fill out some kind of interview sheet. This lady asked me the question, "What are you most excited for this Christmas?" And when I said Backstage Assault, the way this woman looked at me, you'd have thought I just threatened her. She had no clue what Backstage Assault was and why a kid was asking for it for Christmas. So here we are, December 25th, 2000. There I am, opening what at the time I believed to be the next greatest wrestling video game. Man, was I wrong. I tried my best to love this game. These character models are atrocious. Let's get to the positives. A really good roster with multiple outfits for them. A good bit of the wrestlers and their outfits will need to be unlocked. Now you can do this by playing the Hardcore Challenge mode. I do think they were pretty creative with some of the unlockables. They gave hints on the loading screen, like earn a 3 count with the TV, that will unlock all 3 members of 3 count. Or knock out a deal with the briefcase, it'll get you Vince Russo. By doing these, you can unlock certain wrestlers and backstage rooms. I like a game that rewards you for playing it, even if it's a really bad game. I remember as a kid getting the "you unlocked a new wrestler" text on the screen middle of the match and being excited to finish the match to see who it was. It was also nice that they let you know that in each backstage area if you've unlocked all hidden rewards in that area. And I also remember wanting to unlock Scott Hall so bad and not knowing how to do it. And one day I was playing the Hardcore Challenge mode, and he was my next opponent out of nowhere. And when I saw that, the excitement I felt, all I had to do was beat him and I unlocked. That is just a memory that is just burnt into my head, that I'll always remember the excitement I felt from that. I wanted to see how long, though, after all these years, it would take me to get him to just randomly appear in the Hardcore Challenge mode again. And after what felt like an eternity, it happened. The backstage areas are cool and have many items in each room to use as weapons. I do like that they show you the names of each move at the bottom of the screen too. That's a nice touch. They were creative to even make certain backstage parts feel like a ring, like these tires acting as ropes in the turnbuckle. But I think the commentary was probably the only upgrade from Mayhem. It's actually really good for this time. However, that's where our positives end. Now, the negatives. No entrances for any of the wrestlers, just their music and video. At least Mayhem had basic entrances, but that's the least of the problems here. The controls are some of the clunkiest controls known to man. The collision detection is very poor. Weapons and grapples often miss. You can win a match by pinfall, but you have a greater chance of finding Bigfoot in the wild. I once hit 3 finishing moves in a row while my opponent was in the red, and it seems to always be a 2 count. You almost have to knock them out every single time. Picking up objects or even just walking around, it's sluggish, man. You understand at this point, the game has a lot of issues. Now let me nitpick. As I mentioned, the character models are really bad. But come on, why is Jeff Jarrett's Slapnuts shirt white? It was always black, right? Same with DDP's Self High Five shirt. This bothered me at 7 years old, and it still does almost 25 years later. You can go into Create a Superstar mode and fix this, but EA, I feel like I shouldn't have had to. Backstage Assault was a game that you played for maybe an hour and realized, outside of the unlockables, this game gets old real quick. The myth going around at the time was that there was a way to unlock an actual ring to fight in. That would be pretty cool, if it were true, and it wasn't. I was all for the backstage stuff, but because of there not being a ring, you can't do special matches. No steel cage, no ladder matches. The only option here that you have is a first blood match, and it's not good. Your opponent can get busted open at any time, which, I guess that's kind of realistic. But like, the match just ends. Like, there's nothing. The announcers talk about it being a first blood match, but that's it. The opponent just lays there, you celebrate, it's over. You take what WrestleMania 19 did on the GameCube. A regular wrestling game, but it had that interesting mode where you had to reach a briefcase while security guards and other wrestlers tried to stop you. Maybe that's what Backstage Assault needed to be. We should have gotten Mayhem 2 with a backstage mode. WCW in the PS2 era would have been pretty sick. But unfortunately, sick is what Backstage Assault will leave you feeling when you realize this was WCW's last video game.